Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Sweden. We're going to head up towards Gothenburg once again, Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, the Swedish craft beer capital up on the west coast, and we're going to have a look at another beer from a brewery who are very well known for their Berliner Weisses and also for their sour beers and things like this. So yeah, really curious to see how this one turns out actually, because I've heard very good things about this. So for this review then, we are going to head to the Hisingen area in Gothenburg, and we're having a look at another beer from Morgondagens Bryggeri. So this one is the Deadhead. It comes in at 4.5% ABV. They're describing it as a candy Weisse, but essentially it is a Berliner Weisse, and it's brewed with licorice and raspberries, and it's inspired by the little skull sweets that you'll get that are half black, half raspberry, and you'll find these pretty much in any Hemmakväll or Candyland. For those of you who are living abroad, of course, these are the big sweet shops that you get. You get massive big pick and mix shops here in Sweden, which are very, very impressive. When you go into these things, you really wonder why diabetes doesn't happen or doesn't occur at a higher rate in Sweden than it does actually. It really is just insane. But yeah, they're actually very nice. As I've told you before, I was never a great fan of licorice before I came to Sweden, but it really has grown on me over the years, I have to say. So yeah, this is one that I think that will be very, very interesting, and hopefully it turns out to be a very, very nice beer, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this one as well. So let's see how we get on with this one then. So as always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done before from Morgondagens Bryggeri. No doubt you will see some more from these guys at some point in the near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, province, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Morgondagens Bryggeri then, on to my brewery notes. So Morgondagens, as I've told you before, was founded by Jonas Gustafsson and Jenny Nilsson, and the pair had lived in Ingeru outside of Stockholm for a number of years, and they brewed together at home before they moved over to the west coast of Sweden in 2017. So they were then based in Hamburgsund, and they had the Morgondagens Ekologiska Ölkaffe, which is where they were brewing their beers, and this also acted as a sort of tap room for them as well. But this building had previously been a pizzeria, and they set up a small brewery there of 200 litres, and they became known for adding lots and lots of different ingredients to their beers. So they opened up the beer cafe during the summer months, which was also known for pizzas and sandwiches and things, and it proved to be really popular with the locals. But then they got their beers into Systembolaget here in Sweden and Vinmonopolet in Norway, the alcohol monopolies, and they went on to sell this premises in 2018, and they began brewing their beer at Popels Bryggeri, which is in Jonsered, kind of to the east of Gothenburg for a period of time. But they now have their own brewery in Hisingen, where they've set up a 2,000 litre brew kit and an initial fermentation capacity of 30,000 litres, but I think they are expanding that. They have got a plan to expand that over time. But they started opening up the brewery, or they were planning to start opening up the brewery this year in 2020. I'm not sure if they managed it because of the whole COVID-19 situation, but they're wanting to open up a brewery bar on site at some point as well, which should be pretty cool actually. But they've also got a collaborative brewery that they have with Bryggeriet, who are now known as Duck Pond Brewing. This is called Wizard Brewing, and they are very distinctive. I think pretty much all the beers that those guys produce are Berliner Weisses at Wizard Brewing, and they are very nice as well. The Grammophone is a pretty interesting one that I'd recommend you check out. But as of June 2020, these guys have produced 115 different types of beer according to Untappd, but that is including the ones that have been produced under the Wizard name actually. I'm not sure if Duck Pond are brewing their beers. I'm not sure if Duck Pond are brewing their beers at the Morgondagens Bryggeri, or if I know that they were brewing a few things at Spike Brewery as well actually, come to think of it. So yeah, I think Duck Pond brew their beers between Morgondagens and Spike, but I'm not 100% certain about that. There's a lot of gypsy brewing goes on in Gothenburg, so you just have to kind of take it as it goes with these. Some of the beers that you get in Gothenburg are great. There's a hell of a lot of good breweries up there. That's why it's the Swedish craft beer capital. And Morgondagens are one who are kind of new on the scene, on the sour side of the spectrum. So yeah, that's all I can really tell you about Morgondagens for the moment. If you want to learn more, of course, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on. And of course, you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that these guys have done. So yeah, that's all I can really tell you. As I say, check out all the websites and stuff like that, but this is a Swedish brewery that I would really recommend that you check out. So yeah, let's get on and have a taste of this one then. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on the can before we open it up. There you can see, really nicely done. You know, it looks a little bit like a kind of Wild West style poster or something like that. There you can see the Deadhead round here, and there's the whole kind of other stuff that's not quite as interesting. But it says, yeah, this one contains barley malt and wheat malt, raspberries, pulverised licorice and yeast. So yeah, should be interesting. The artwork on this one, it says, is by Studio Finken. So yeah, quite interesting. But yeah, nicely presented this one, and hopefully, as I say, it turns out to be a nice beer. 4.5% Berliner Weisse with licorice and raspberry. So yeah. Ooh, you can see the colour of this one as soon as you open it up. But yeah, let's get this guy out and into the can. This is going to be good. There we are. So yes, that looks awesome. I have to say, that does look pretty damn awesome. So yeah, oh, the raspberries really come out of this one a little bit later on. Yes, so look at this. This is only the second sour beer I think that I've had that has licorice in it. I did have one from Finland, but you'll see that review later, hopefully, if I can fix the file. Memory card corruption, unfortunately, so I need to see if I can recover that one. But yeah, licorice, it's a usually very unusual component to have in it's a very unusual component to have in beers. But I tell you something, in my experience, at least with the Coolhead beer from Finland, it was very, very nice. But yeah, as you can see, and as you would kind of expect from a raspberry sour, this one has poured a lovely dark, almost kind of burgundy maroon colour. It's not too far away from my little hoodie that I've got on. Actually, you can see there was a solid half finger of a frothy pinkish tinted head on this one. That's fading away to be a more thin foamy layer, but it's quite bumpy on the sides as well. There's one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, quite a few little ones going up towards the bottom of that head there, but you know, overall it does look pretty damn nice. If I shine the light through this one, it actually looks a little bit brighter in terms of its redness, but I think to you guys on the camera it will appear a little bit more sort of burgundy and or maroony, however you want to describe it. But a very, very nice looking beer. Usually raspberry beers, yeah, they can vary in colour a little bit. It depends where your raspberries are from. Some of them can be a bit brighter, but this I think is definitely one of the darker raspberry coloured beers that I've come across. But again, that might be due to the licorice. You know, licorice always has that kind of black dye in it. But I don't know whether if they're just using the raw licorice without the dye in it, without the kind of natural colourings and stuff. But yeah, always interesting. But yeah, it looks very, very nice, this one. So let's take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on there. I have to say, this beer smells really, really nice. It does come across as very, very sweet. I mean, straight away, the raspberries, you get that lovely big juiciness out of them. It doesn't come across as being overly sour. I do wonder if there's maybe a bit of raspberry flavour essence in this as well, and I know that quite a few breweries do that. They will actually add the fruit to the beer, but then they'll also add a little bit of flavour essence in just to round it off a little bit. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of both raspberries and if there is a mix of both raspberries and raspberry flavour essence in this one, because it comes across, the raspberries have got a little bit of juicy sharpness to them. They've also got a little bit of, it's also just got a little bit of that kind of more juicy, candied type quality to it as well, which I think is really nice. Yeah, I really like how that, I do like how that one goes together actually. The aroma of this is very, very nice. Lovely big juicy sharp raspberries to it, and kind of well balanced. You will get the impression of a few other things in there, maybe figs, a bit of raisins, plums, stuff like that. You will get the impression of a few other ones, but of course it is the kind of big juicy raspberries that are in there as you'd expect. On the I really don't smell too much of the licorice, to be honest with you. That's the interesting thing about this one. For me, I don't get too much of the licorice in the aroma. You can smell a little bit of an aniseedy type quality underneath this one, do you say aniseed or aniseed? I can't remember. But yeah, you do get a little bit of that aniseedy type quality underneath. But I think the juiciness of the raspberries and things really overpowers that, to be honest with you. I really like how the aroma of this one comes across, I have to say. Yeah, the aroma of this is very, very nice actually. So thumbs up to Morgondagens again, but I have been impressed with the aromas I've had from beers from these guys before. Underneath, of course, you do get, you can pick up the nice kind of white bready, wheaty sort of thing. It is a Berliner Weisse, of course, and I'm surprised there's not oats in this one, because it really does kind of come across. It doesn't say, no, it just says Weisse, but it really comes across as very smooth and almost kind of creamy, if you like. So it's always surprising that there's not, when you smell beers like this, you're always surprised that there's not a little bit of oats in there as well. But yeah, lovely big kind of smooth white bready note in there. There is a little bit of a hoppy presence to it. You can pick up a little bit of a very small light earthiness, a wee bit of a grassy floral character. But I'd say the green side of the hops in this one mainly leans towards the light sort of grassy thing. It's probably a little bit of Hallertau Tittnanger or something like that that's in here, because you do just get a very light grassy vibe about this beer, which is interesting. So yeah, that's a really interesting point, I think, to make about this one. I do like how the aroma on this one goes together actually. So yeah, thumbs up to Morgondagens Bryggeri for this. This I can see, if the aroma is anything to go by, if it's anything like the flavour, I can see why a lot of people have kind of raved about this beer. But just remember, the hoppy presence to this one isn't going to be all that big, because what they do with sour beers is they add older hops into them, or they just put a very small amount of hops in so that it doesn't overpower the sour side of the beer. But they're saying this one's a candy Weisse, so I'm thinking that this one probably is going to be on the sweet side of the spectrum. I'm not sure how sour this one is actually going to be. But yeah, let's have a little look at the flavour of this one then and see how we get on. So this one is the Deadhead 4.5% Berliner Weisse, Candy Weisse, with raspberries and licorice from Morgondagens Bryggeri in Hisingen, Gothenburg, Sweden. Let's get stuck into this one. Sláinte, skål. Ooh, it does actually have a little bit of sourness when you take it in, but it's not really that puckering, to be honest with you. But yeah, this is a lovely big smooth kind of thick, but like Berliner Weisse, Candy Weisse. I would say something about this. The licorice really does come across in the aftertaste. It kind of sits on top of the wheaty notes. Yeah, the licorice is more in the aftertaste of this rather than anything else. So yeah, when you take this beer in, you've got a good bit of tartness from the raspberries there, then the whole thing just juicens up quite nicely, and you can feel the middle of your palate getting thicker and thicker and thicker, and then the licorice just starts to emerge out of it actually. I'm pretty sure this is the raw, the sort of raw licorice. It's not like actual fully finished licorice, if you like. I think they'll be using some kind of, don't know if you can see aniseed extract, but they'll be using the stuff that you get out of the sweet factories before, and they actually put the dye and stuff in it and shape it and things like that. It'll be that they're using in this beer, I would think, rather than fully kind of processed licorice, if you like. But it gives you the flavour of this beer. It's very nice. This gets a big thumbs up from me. I've got a feeling that this is a beer that my mum loves licorice, and she likes raspberries and things like that as well, but I've got a feeling, my mum always claims that she doesn't like beer. This is one that I think I can say I might be able to get her to like this one actually. I don't know if she'd like the sourness right enough, but I think she might actually be convinced. I could potentially convince her about this one, so yeah. Yeah. This is very, very nice actually. I think this is a really, really solid beer, this one. I mean, it's very, very kind of sweet actually. I do like that about this. As I've told you before, I've been getting more and more into my sour beers in recent times, and I think this one is again very, very nice. So let's try and just break down the flavour of this one then. In the middle third of your palate, you've got a lovely big kind of thick wheatiness to it. It really, to me, it does feel as if it's almost got a little bit of an oaty kind of creaminess to it, but it says on the can it doesn't have oats in it, which I'm surprised at, to be honest with you. But you can feel on top of that nice smooth kind of white bready wheat thing, the licorice, you've just got this big oily character from the sort of licoricey aniseed type flavours there. The malt base is kind of straight up in this, as I say, white bready wheaty base, almost a little bit of an oaty flavour towards the front of that middle third of your palate, and then you've just got the oily licoricey characters sitting on top of that. If you move towards the the back third of your tongue, again that just kind of just spreads back and over that border, if you like, as well. There's not really a kind of wheaty bitiness towards the back of the tongue or a more crisp character or anything, but you can feel the licorice just sort of fades a little bit towards the back of the tongue there. But yeah, the centre of your palate on this one, very, very straight up, but very, very nice, I have to say. So thumbs up to Morgondagens for this one. I can see why people like this beer, actually. It's very easy to drink and just really quite tasty. It's just solid, yeah. Yeah, certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. I think I maybe need to try and get some cans of this to some of my beer tubing friends and see what they think, but I think this is really very, very nice. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness there, quite a light earthiness, but as you go further forward along the sides of the palate, that just kind of, the earthiness fades away. It does become almost a little bit more herbal, and then you get a little bit of a floral quality on the front corners of the tongue. Then round the very front curve of the palate, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy in my mind. And then the front third of the tongue is where you're getting all the nice kind of fruity notes out of the beer. So let's take a look at that. So yeah, when you take this one out, it's got a lovely bit of a kind of raspberry sort of sharpness out of it. It does become a little bit kind of figgy and juicy and things like that. It almost feels as if it's got a little bit of a kind of strawberry character to it. And the aroma, like I said, you might get the impression of a bit of a raisiny, plummy sort of thing out, or even figs. But yeah, to me, the kind of front part of your palate, it really tastes a little bit like strawberry underneath, and then the kind of raspberry notes. They're the ones that really mix in with the sharpness, actually. So that's an interesting point for me to make about this one. The raspberries, it tastes like raspberry when it comes in, I think, with a big tartness and things like that. And I guess I've always found that raspberries can be very, very tart. In Scotland, our raspberries are usually very, very tart, but the strawberries are really nice, and the strawberries are usually very nice and sort of juicy in my mind, actually. So I like how that I do like how that side of it comes together. So yeah. Yeah, it's like raspberry, 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 juicy strawberry. It just kind of, the beer just sort of oils up on the front of your palate and changes from being this sharp raspberry flavour, I think, to a more kind of juicy strawberry note. But then later on, you will get a wee bit of sharpness from the raspberries again. So it's an interesting transition that it makes, actually. I like how that how all of that goes together on this one. This beer, as I say, it gets a big thumbs up from me. The things that really linger here into the aftertaste, I think it's the raspberries start to come out again later, but you've got that lovely kind of white bready, wheaty sort of thing to it, and the aniseed flavours on top of that. The aniseed flavours really give more of a they really give the beer this bigger sort of oily character as well, which is very, very nice. So yeah, I do like how all of this how it all pieces together, actually. I really think this is a very, very nice tasting beer, to be honest with you. So so yeah, it's this one, it gets a big thumbs up from me. Very, very sweet, big oily, thick Berliner Weisse, I think. So yeah, definitely big thumbs up from me on this one. I really like how this goes together. So yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one then, I'd say that this is a pretty full-bodied beer. Yeah, for the sour category, definitely a big full-bodied beer. The carbonation is very, very smooth in this one. Yeah, very smooth carbonation in this one. Yeah, big and oily. I think that's what we can say about this. This is definitely a big, massive, oily Berliner Weisse rather than anything else. So yeah, big, oily, juicy and sweet Berliner Weisse, I have to say. Middle of your palate, like I said, is really smooth and again very oily. So you get a lovely kind of smooth, almost creamy character out of it. Bit of oiliness sitting on top of that. Very light in terms of its IBUs. You know, maybe, how would you say? Maybe it's maybe about how would you say? Maybe it's probably only about 10 IBUs, if that. You know, maybe you're even lucky to get 5 out of this, but very low in terms of its IBUs. But a lovely little bit of fruity, sharp kind of tartness when you take it in, but then it juices up very quickly, and the fruitiness, I think, becomes more oily and things the further into the aftertaste that you go. But this is a lovely beer, this one, and I do recommend that you have a taste of this if you get the chance. Lovely take on the kind of Berliner Weisse style, but definitely one of the sweeter ones that you're going to find in this category as well. But yeah, big thumbs up to Morgondagens for this one. I think they've done a solid job on this, and this is quite quirky. I think a raspberry licorice sour. Actually, I think they've done a really good job of this. So yeah, you know, big thumbs up to Morgondagens for this one. The Deadhead Raspberry Licorice Berliner Weisse, or Candy Weisse, or whatever they want to call it, from these guys in Hisingen in Gothenburg. Massive thumbs up from me. Solid beer, this one. Not the most complex of things, I have to say, but the flavours just blend together really nicely. It's one of these beers that is just very well crafted, so definitely worth trying in my mind. So yeah, as always with my reviews then, thank you for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Morgondagens Bryggeri as well. I will definitely review more from these guys at some point in the near future, because they've always got some really interesting things coming out there. It would be cool to get up to Gothenburg and do an interview with these guys, because they have got some very quirky beers, of course, and if you're interested in sour beers, then this is a brewery that you definitely want to check out. So yeah, thank you again for watching. Check out Morgondagens Bryggeri. This one was the Deadhead, a 4.5% Candy Weisse as they're calling it, but basically a Berliner Weisse with raspberry and licorice added to the brew. Very interesting beer, this one. Lovely, smooth, big, oily and sweet, and I highly recommend you have a look at this one. Thank you again for watching, and we'll catch you guys soon. Make sure you check out Morgondagens and have a go at this beer if you get the chance. Slàinte, skål, cheers, catch you guys very soon.